Hey guys, welcome to the All Islanders podcast. Today we're going to be doing our second episode, which will feature questions from you guys. This is the second episode from our series, and our first episode was very successful. We got 200 views on SoundCloud, and we got a lot of good feedback. So today we're just expanding it to take some questions from you guys so you guys can be even more involved. So I just wanted to thank you guys for the great first episode, and we're excited for today.
Yeah, let's just hop right into this thing. So the Islanders obviously had a big game last night with the win over the Rangers, pulls them within 1 point of a playoff spot. Uh, Scott or David, either one of you can answer this question. How do you think that sets us up for this Saturday and Sunday home and home against the Devils?
Uh, I think it sets us up in a really good place going into that home and home, considering that the Devils are sort of, I won't say they're trickling down, but a lot of people are saying, oh, that you know how like at one point there were like 7 teams in like a 3 point radius of the second wild card and the worst team in the East, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now people are saying that they're starting to become like a bridge in between a couple of teams, and it goes like Toronto, the Islanders, Philly, Florida, Buffalo, which are all 60 and above, and then the Devils, Tampa, Carolina, Detroit, which are all 58 and below. So the Islanders, who have one game in hand on New Jersey going into this uh, weekend series, they can either take 4 points out of four and make this basically an 8 point weekend for them, or they can just give it all away. But I mean, by the way that the Islanders have been playing, 9-3 and whatever it's been under Doug Waite. I think it's been 9-3-2 if I'm not wrong.
I believe it is 9-3-2.
Okay, so I think that momentum that's starting to come is going to continue to push them in through the weekend.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm actually going to be at the game on Saturday, and just like we had a writer at our game against Buffalo, I'll be doing a lot of videos for you guys. Those got a ton of views, so I'm excited to do that. That'll be fun. And with that game, back to the game, I really think that if we get 4 points this weekend in 2 days, that would be so big for this team because first of all, it would eliminate New Jersey basically unless they really go on a run, and also it would propel us over Toronto and over Philly, which would actually move us into a playoff spot for the first time this entire season. So just getting into that 8 seed will really be a psychological boost for this team because I think being in the playoffs really lets them know that this team is for real, and they could almost taste the playoffs, and when you get to the playoffs anything can happen. So I really think winning this home and home and getting 4 points, not three, not two, they need to get 4 points, would really put them in a good spot.
Okay, so let me ask my first question to whoever wants to answer it. Uh, I know we've been talking a lot about how the trade deadline is coming up, and I know we
Hmm.
have a special guest coming on soon. Details will come in the future. All I'll tell you is next Friday, the podcast that is being recorded on the 24th, he will be on, and I am super excited for him to be on. I know you guys will too. Um, and my question to you guys is, what do you think the Islanders actually need? Like, I've heard rumors like Duchamp, Landeskog, Ginla, Sharp, Hantel. I've heard all those rumors, but like, where do they fit, or who do we actually need, and what would we give up?
Okay, so I think the Islanders are in a very, I'm going to use the word bad for lack of a better word. I'm going to use uncomfortable. I think uncomfortable is a really good word. They're really in an uncomfortable position because They're average. Everyone can see that. They're in the 9 seed. But they don't really have a player you can easily say, oh, you could take him out of the lineup. And there's not really a player you can say he'd substantially help our team. So I think what you're going to see this year is you're going to see a classic Garth Snow trade deadline where we do nothing. We might get a prospect. We might get someone. We may get rid of a defenseman because Hickey, DeHaan, someone may get claimed from our decor. I could see that happening. But I just think we're not going to do anything unless it's Duchesne, which I don't think we're going to do due to their asking price. But I really have a bad feeling that a lot of fans are going to be let down on March 1st when the Islanders, again, don't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't even really want them to do anything because if they keep this up until the trade deadline, I mean, I feel like everything's going smoothly right now. So I feel like
Yeah,
if you add a piece to that equation, maybe it messes it up and it just
yeah. Even
torpedoes it.
even Gianta. I mean, Gianta, our 14th forward, he's been so good. Like I've been impressed. I've been almost proud of him because he's been like, oh, I don't want to say our best player because that's crazy, but just everything he's done in his 11 minutes a game is just amazing. I mean, the things he does to create goals, create momentum. I mean, he's been sensational. And even it's tough to take him out of the lineup. It's tough to take Mayfield out of the lineup. Fans are upset when Mayfield is at scratch. It's just our team has a lot of depth. The problem is it's not necessarily depth of good players. It's just depth of
Mediocrity.
decent. Oh, mediocrity. Yeah, perfect. So I'd like them to get Duchesne. I'd like them to trade Pelech. I'd like them to trade Strome. I'd like them to trade a first, get Duchesne, maybe a low round pick. I think that would be worthwhile for them. But unless you're doing that, I don't know if there's a player you can take out of the lineup and be happy about it.
Haven't the Islanders always have depth of mediocrity though?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
past two
I
playoff years.
mean, listen to
Yeah.
what this is. Garth Snow's trade deadline resume over the past couple of years. Last year, he traded a third to Ottawa for Shane Prince and a seventh, and he traded Taylor Beck to Colorado for Marc-Andre Cliche. Taylor Beck is the leading scorer in the American Hockey League as of last time I checked.
That's
With
pretty funny. Yeah, but honestly, I'm glad he's gone because remember that penalty he took in
Oh,
was it
against Montreal.
Toronto? Oh,
No,
Montreal.
it's
Messed up the
Montreal.
Canadian.
Yeah.
That was like the worst penalty
no,
I've ever seen. That was
Matt
like
Barzil's penalty where he played the puck in the penalty box is the worst I've ever seen.
That was
Actually,
pretty bad too. But that was like
he is not leading. He's at third now behind Jordan Wheel and Kenny Agostino. What?
yeah, but I just think it's like he needed to be traded. But back with Snow at the deadline, I just think he doesn't do big moves. I don't know. It's just I don't have confidence in him to do anything big. So I just think a lot of fans are gonna be disappointed.
So 2 years ago, he made the wonderful move for in a game that I saw at home against Ottawa when Andrew Hammond was actually good. The only guy who could score a goal on him that day, they traded a conditional third, which turned into a seventh because the Islanders didn't win a cup. For some reason, that was the condition. To San Jose for Tyler Kennedy. Remember that guy?
He was okay. They tried Tavares. He was one of Tavares' many wingers. He was ugly. He had a really ugly nose, but he was okay. I wouldn't want a player like him this year though, or a Prince, because I just feel like those players would not do anything like at all. If you're gonna do something, not even a Hansel, you need Duchesne, you need an Eberle, you need a JVR, you need a big player, and I think the Islanders have the prospects to pull it off. That's what I would do.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of against that because, I mean, I'm kind of bringing in a totally different sport here. But, like, the Mets went out and traded, arguably their top second baseman prospect for Jay Bruce. And, yeah, he heated up towards the end of the year. but he really did not do anything.
Yeah, but that's baseball. I don't know. I'm going more long term here. I'm just going like we have so many prospects, and I don't want to say they're failing, but I'm gonna say they're not doing too well. So maybe if Garth Zone knows someone who's lagging
Well,
behind in his development, maybe he could trade him.
um,
I don't know. The fact that none of them are in the NHL is a
funny
bad
thing
sign.
that you mentioned that because tonight we had the privilege of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers game being aired on MSG, and they beat the Rochester Americans by a score of 5-2. That is their.
No, it's not the
It's
Americans.
the
It's the
It's the
Merkins.
Rochester Amerks, as what their announcer likes to call it. It's nicknameception. I'm not gonna get into that. Um.
Get ready to get Rochester a burnt.
So.
That was a
That
bad
makes
joke.
no sense.
So.
That
Okay.
was.
So it's
Moving
their
on.
13th win in their past 14 games. And that's because of Yaroslav Alak, who is on a streak that is taking Bridgeport Sound Tigers records to another level. He has now set the record for most consecutive wins in starts with 11. He is the best goaltender in the AHL over his tenure there, and do we expect less? No. Do we expect more? I mean, what more can you ask for? Uh, but
Yeah, I agree.
what you're talking about, guys who are struggling. Josh Hosang had 4 points tonight. One of them was an empty net goal, and the others were helpers, but still, him getting on the score sheet is important. Him and Dalcol, who also had a goal today. I believe he had a goal and 2 assists. I'm pretty sure that was his stat line tonight. Indeed it was. It was a goal and 2 assists, and he tied with Hosang for the team lead in shots with 4. So happy that they both got on the board tonight. So that's always good, and hopefully we'll see one or both of them on the team soon, or one of them on another team that might as well be Colorado for Matt Duchene.
Yeah, but I just have one thing to ask you actually that I think is really important. One thing that when I follow them on Twitter, just what I see from the Sound Tigers. You watch the games, you know more about this than I do. I feel like Dalcol and Hosang are almost getting overshadowed by the Berniers, by the Jones brothers. I think they're twins. I feel like, why are these non-NHL future players? Why is Bernier getting more ice time than Hosang and Dalcol? Is that the coach? Is that what's
Steve
up with that?
Bernier is hurt.
Yeah, but before that, Bernier was putting up goals on a regular basis. I mean,
at the start of the year, Bernier was hot. 26 points in 33 games. But his last game was on January 28th. And he missed.
He got hurt that long ago?
Yeah, but until then, I just used him as a point because I'm just saying, how come
now
Hosang and Dalcol aren't on the first line? How come they aren't showcased so they can develop? I don't know why. Why is our first line?
It's not the Jones twins.
I don't get that.
Well.
Okay. Well, obviously I don't know what I'm talking about, but still, just answer my question.
Oh, this is really bothering me, but let me fix this while I'm talking. The lines tonight and the lines over the past couple of months is getting really confusing because Verhaeghe was sent down. Bracken Kearns continues to be the first line center, and he's been really productive. Happy that we kept him back. Dalcol, Hosang, they're working well on the line, no matter if it's Travis St. Dennis as the center, Josh Winquist as the center, Who knows? But who cares? As long as they're being productive and they're playing on the same line, which is really good, they're getting a lot of ice time. So even though they're on the second line, they're
Okay.
technically still playing a lot of first line ice.
All right. Well, that's just what I wanted to know. I'm just a little. I don't want to use the
Concerned?
word mystified, but I'm just gonna say, I feel like I'm just concerned with how many prospects have been busts, and I'm just wondering what's in the water in Bridgeport that makes we haven't had a successful prospect since Lee. I mean, what's going on? It's just I don't like it. It's a weird feeling. I don't know. Just I don't trust alcohol. I don't trust Hosang. It's just it seems like there's something up with every prospect that isn't up with them when they get drafted, if you know what I mean. I just feel like the Islanders have this thing where they ruin prospects, and hopefully playing in front of Halak will get these prospects, if they're winning every game, hopefully they'll be better, but I don't know. I feel like they're not. There's just something up with these prospects. I don't know. You could talk more
We'll
than that.
see over the content of the rest of the year. There's a very, very good draft class coming up this year. I won't say it's better than last year. Nothing was better than last year, the year before. But it's very top heavy. Then it goes down a little bit. And hopefully, depending on where we land, and if we don't trade our pick, which is, if we're in the playoff race, very, very possible in a deal to get Duchesne. But there's guys, obviously, everyone knows Nolan Patrick, right? Most people know Nico Hischier. And then from there, Timothy Liljegren, Gabriel Velarde, Owen Tippett. Keep scrolling down, you've got guys, Christian Vesalainen and Matthew Strome, but I mean, there may be another hidden gem in there in the mid-20s if we make the playoffs that we can pick up.
Yeah, so I actually want to move it on to a question from one of the people who has been commenting on our post. Jake Maurer commented, should we call Halak up? So I think that's an interesting it makes sense kind of, but I don't really know if going back to the 3 goalie system would be the best. So I'm just going to ask you, Chris, should the Islanders call Halak up? Should they maybe trade Berube? I mean, what do you feel about that?
Well, personally, I don't know. I mean,
That's a tough
feel
one.
like, if you were to call up Pelech, I wouldn't do it during this hot streak he's having right now in the AHL. I feel like maybe let that taper off a little bit and then call him up, because I feel like he's seeing the puck real well, but also the AHL is just a whole, it's almost pretty much just a different league, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're on buses every game. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also mixed in with like either draft busts, lower level prospects, or like guys in their mid-30s. So it's totally different. So I mean, obviously a guy who's had some pretty good success in his career is gonna do well down there. But I mean, for right now, I would not recall him. And I mean, obviously my thoughts could change in a few weeks, but that's just my thoughts.
I think you save him for an injury. If Greiss or Berube gets injured, I think you call him up then. But just right now, the 3 goalie system was it was like the plague. It was really bad. Everyone hated it. Snow hated it. The players hated it. You can't go back to that. You can't trade Greiss, obviously. So the only other way if you're calling Halak up, you got to trade Berube, and the Islanders have not done that yet. They probably would have already. So I'm going a definite no on that. But good question, Scott. What do you think?
Basically the same reason as you guys, except for the fact that if the Islanders get in a playoff spot, they have to start Berube a little bit more, unless they believe that he will re-sign with them. Because remember, there is a slim pick on his contract. if he doesn't play, I think if he doesn't start, I think it's like 25 games or 30 games during the season, which is not likely. He becomes a UFA instead of an RFA. So as long as they think he will re-sign with them, and if they don't, I mean, you wait until Gibber's healthy, or Halak will come back up. I'm just hoping Gibber's healthy by next year, because if we're done with Halak basically and Berube's gone, we're relying on Gibson to be the backup. So.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly end this with just saying one thing. Halak being so successful in Bridgeport, if there weren't injuries, this would be very interesting. A lot of the Bridgeport goalies are injured, but if Halak had competition from Gibson, from Williams, from
Eamon McAdam is currently the backup there.
That would be really, yeah, that would be really interesting, because honestly, they may play Gibson over Halak some days, so that would be interesting. You don't know with Halak. I think it's good that Halak is getting the start every night, so that's good. But on to our next topic. This relates to Bridgeport a little bit, but it's also relating to Travis Hamonick's injury. Travis Hamonick has been out for a while, and honestly, until you guys reminded me 3 days ago, I completely forgot. The team has been playing so well. I mean, they have not missed him one bit. So my question is, when he comes back, who comes out of the lineup and why? So, Chris, I'll go to you first.
I don't know, deep down in my inside, it tells me that you don't play Hamonic until the Islanders tape, fall off. Because, I mean, look at his stats. Him and Letty were some of the worst defensemen, not only on the team, can you even say the Eastern Conference early on in the year. They had like a minus 20-something each. So, I mean, maybe you switch up the pairings. Maybe you keep Letty and Boychuk together like you did in 14-15.
They're
and
back
I think
together.
they have been doing that the last few games, and I mean, I think it worked well.
Yeah, that's good.
So, I mean, I always liked the Dahan Hamonic line, but I think Dahan's now with Seidenberg. But, I mean, if you were to put Hamonic in,
it would be Hamonic and Hickey, which I don't like.
Yeah, but are we also assuming that Hickey?
We're assuming that Hickey is playing healthy.
Yeah,
because is he playing healthy? Do we even know anymore?
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't know. That's. Oh, I don't know. I would say Seidenberg, but I mean, I'm only saying that because I haven't heard his name. But that's because he was such like a big offensive presence before he got hurt. But I mean, you can't take out Dahan. You can't take out either Letty or Boychuk because those are your two main guys. So it comes down to Hickey or Seidenberg.
Well, I think you forgot Pelech, and that's who I'd be taking out. I think he's been solid, but I don't know how solid he's been. The only thing I say, though, you don't play Hamonic until he's absolutely 100%. And I think that's a pretty common opinion between everyone who follows the Islanders. I just think that with how they've been playing, you don't mess things up. We've said this a bunch of times before. Putting Hamonic in there with how bad he's been bad this year. Really bad. Putting him in with how bad he's been, I think could hurt the team, even though it's, been one of our best players the last, couple years. I think you need to sit him until he's healthy, and if things cool down or we plateau or we earn a playoff spot, whatever it is, you take Pelech out. That's my opinion.
Did you mean out of the lineup or out of the roster?
I think we have an open roster spot, if I'm not mistaken. I think we have Gianta and Mayfield and no one else.
Oh, because I mean, right now, Pelech's not really playing.
Except for the other night because Mayfield was in for him.
He is? Oh.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Can we talk about Mayfield next?
Oh yeah, of course. He's been amazing.
I really liked him I think he played games 6 and 7 of the Cap series, and I
Oh, yeah,
even
he was
liked him
good.
then.
He was
I thought
good.
he was good then. He was a physical presence. I mean, he was young, but he wasn't afraid to get in there and
We
get
have a
bumped
full
around
roster.
Ovechkin or Backstrom, guys like that.
We do.
You know what? I think we're all forgetting that Cal
Clutterbuck
Clutterbuck is still hurt.
Oh,
I think
my
everyone
God.
did.
I forgot about
I
him.
actually forgot about
And
that.
no,
Yeah.
but
I
like
think
you know what the
even though he's
problem
been
is?
good, I think you said that.
Clutterbuck isn't hurt. He got the flu. And
Oh,
which is,
yeah. The flu's been running around the team.
or I believe it's the
It's
flu.
weird. He's
Give
been
me
out
a
so long with the
second.
flu. That's weird. What if it's just a
That-
lie?
that would be
because
really
he
funny.
hasn't been good this year. That'd be funny.
Lower
Yeah.
lower body injury.
He
My
sucked. What a
bad.
bad contract.
He was out with the flu earlier this year, I thought though.
Okay. Well, you never. Yeah, he was. A lot of players were, but you never know with these injuries. Lower body could literally mean he cut off his toe on accident. I mean, you have no idea with these, or he could have a torn ACL. I mean, there's no idea. Whatever. That's the NHL for you. But back to the Mayfield thing, I just think I am amazed he didn't get claimed. First of all, when we sent him down early this year, like I'm amazed. That's the first thing. And second of all, I just think he's an ideal sixth defenseman. Unfortunately, we don't have room for him. But maybe when Hickey or DeHaan or someone gets claimed, you call Mayfield up. And Pelech, is Mayfield better than Pelech? I don't even know. I mean, we have a lot. We have like 30 names that you could put in the NHL and not feel bad.
You know
about.
what?
So
there
that's
is
just,
one
Yeah,
name
that's a
that's
whole nother
currently
thing. That's
playing in the
crazy.
NHL
I mean,
that I am there is no way I am happy with him playing in the NHL right now.
Let me guess. Is it?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Wait, are the Islanders?
Shane Prince.
Why?
Prince.
Wait, can you?
He has
Yeah.
fantastic
Yeah.
stretches. He had like 6 points in 4 games earlier this year. He had a great game against Winnipeg on New Year's Eve. And now it's like, oh yeah, he's hurt. When he comes back, is he even going to play? Probably not.
No, he's in Wade's dog. Very important detail. Bouvillier was in Capuano's doghouse.
Prince is going to be the guy in Wade's doghouse.
You know, Bouvillier didn't play a lot. Prince he has been. He has not. He's played like 3 games under Wade. So I just think Capuano handled Bouvillier really badly, and he should have been playing over Prince because Cap really liked Prince. But I just think Prince has been really, really bad. Like really bad. He's taken some bad penalties too. But he's been bad.
Don't worry that
I completely agree. I'm glad
third round pick we traded for him, the Senators didn't even keep it. They traded it to the Devils.
What'd they do with it?
In order to move up one spot above them to it was the Logan Brown Mike McLeod thing with pick 11 and 12. How the Senators gave up a third just to move up ahead of the Devils. And for any listeners who are prospect gurus like myself out there, that 7th we got with Prince ended up being Nick Pastajov. So another guy that we should be looking out for in the future. He's been playing really well this year.
That's interesting. Yeah, but I just think that we can
except the fact he has 2 points. Whatever.
Just quickly, because I think this is a good time to bring it up. Yeah, I just think that we have a lot of cool things coming out on the site. We have
it's taking
the trade
forever.
tree that Scott is working on, where there's a reason why he knows all these things about trades, because he has like a PowerPoint that he's working up where every trade is like a tree, and you could draw a line between all the trades and show that. And then we also have some trade deadline articles coming out, which we've talked about. And we also have a cool thing about Gianta, which I really like. And then one important thing that I think I'm planning on doing is looking back at Capuano. And I just want to bring it as our next topic. I don't know about you guys, but I liked Capuano, and I didn't want to fire him because I didn't think it was his fault. And I hated the idea of bringing on Wade as a coach just because the power play was so bad. And why was it anything going to get better when his only job was something that he was failing at so miserably? So my question is for whoever wants it, why have the Islanders been good? They haven't had an easy schedule. I just am amazed at how they're doing so well. Is it just because Wade's riding them like crazy? Like, I don't even know.
Well,
I'm amazed at this, but yeah, Scott.
Wade's not controlling the power play anymore, first off, which is a good thing. I believe it's now Cronin.
Oh, yeah.
I think. It's either Cronin or Corkum is coaching the power play, because one of them's coaching the power play, the other one's coaching the penalty kill. And Bertani is just the video coach, so he's right now out of the equation. He's a smart guy.
Bertani.
He could end up being in a front office one day, but right now he's our video coach. But one of them's coaching the power play, one of them's coaching the penalty kill. When Wade was coaching the power play, he focused on one thing and one thing only during the power play. Passing. We kept joking around. We didn't call it a power play. We call it a powerless play or a passing play. But since we're on the topic of coaches, can I just bring up a interesting idea?
Yeah, just let me say one thing about Wade, and then you can bring it up. I just think that a reason why I saw a video somewhere. I don't know how they got it. It was a fan recording them during the open practice or something. I don't remember. But Wade was ripping into them so hard. I've never seen someone yell at someone more. And I just think that having a player who just played in the league, who was a line mate with some of these players, I just think he was Tavares' captain. He was Lad's. They won a cup with Lad. I just think having someone who like these players can connect with and really like look up to as a player and as a person, and almost like they don't want to let him down, it seems like. So I just think having this, it looks like they're playing so much harder with so much more heart. So I just really think that even though I was against it at first, I think the Islanders are a team that could use a player as a coach who really is more of a player's coach and not more of a, like Capuano was.
A coach's coach. He's a coach's coach.
I don't know how to put it. He was just kind of a coach who...
selfish.
Yeah, he didn't really care.
Well, two things.
He was weird. But
First
off,
you can
bring up,
yesterday,
you can bring up
during the second intermission interview, when they pulled off Lad to the side, one thing stuck out when Shannon was talking to him. He referred to Doug Waite as Dougie. And he referred to Doug Waite as Dougie on NHL Center Ice following the game, too. They had him on NHL Network. And, yeah,
of course, they're friends.
They both have a cup ring from the same year.
Yeah, they play together.
The bond, like you were saying, the bond between some of our players and our head coach is good. But knowing for him, it's harder to sit them.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's good too,
Tavares, it's Bailey, it's Ladd, and that's about it. So.
Yeah, but just this one thing. The Rangers game, did any of you guys see the look that Ladd had in his eye? He looked like a man on a mission. He had like a psychotic look in his eye where he needed to score that third goal. I've never seen a player want that hat trick so bad.
I'm happy.
This guy was going crazy out there, and I'm just... yesterday was the first time I've actually been happy.
Just remember, we've got 6 more years of him.
I don't know. Oh my God.
I'd rather I'd
watched
rather
six
be a
more years of
Yankee
postseason.
fan and look into the fact that we have 4
Same.
more years of
I think
Ellsbury.
everyone would.
Ugh. Ugh.
Ew. Chris, didn't you rank him 14th best Islander ever?
Kyle Bussa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Want to justify that one?
Well, I mean, obviously there's no,
There's no
right
wrong
way
way
to put it.
either.
As everyone has their different opinions on who would be the top 15. But, I mean, just looking through, Oposo had in 529 games, had 369 points. So,
That's really
I
good.
mean, yeah, that's really good. And compared to some other guys, like I have some guys up on the list who have played less games, but it's the fact that they have like more points than they do have games. But I mean, Oposo, I mean, he's been part of the team since 2006. I mean, he was part of the team since 2006, and he did some like big things. Like he was huge. I mean, even though we didn't win the series against Pittsburgh, I think he scored the game-winning goal in Game 2 or something like that against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
And then he scored a few more goals in that series. But I mean, he was just a big piece to our team. And I mean, if him and Tavares had played together, it was almost like Bossy and Trottier. But obviously not to that extent. Since they were in. No, I'm not like. That's a real hot take, but like obviously
It's
not
like
the
it's
point
like
of how-
Anisimov and
House.
Panarin.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
But,
Too good. Yeah.
Except Tavares is better than Anisimov, and
Okay,
Oposo's not as good as
except Tavares
Panarin.
is better than.
But can I bring up my idea that I had
And
before we
Panarin.
got cut off with
Yeah, but
me bringing up the Doug Waite and coaching sitting players idea? Okay. So, this is a stat I'm also pulling from Steve Dangle and Jesse Blake and everyone because they brought this up on their latest podcast. Every team that has fired their head coach so far this year has a winning record since they fired their coach.
yeah, the players react.
No, they're like
the Panthers, I think, are
they're like
13, 11, and 4 though,
something.
so, like,
I don't like
the. Oh yeah, they're like 13, 11, and 9. They have not.
Okay.
I mean,
I
obviously,
think that was stupid. That was
So-
so stupid. But
Yeah.
back to what you're saying.
Now
with
the
sitting players,
the
I'll just
fact
continue it.
that
Yeah.
Doug
I
Waite
can continue
could
with
end
this
up
quick
being
if
our
you
head
want,
coach
or
for
you
the
can go.
future. But could he, what the problem would have to be, he'd have to give up probably his role as assistant general manager, which I don't think he wants to do. So if he gets pushed back to assistant head or assistant coach, did Montreal just fire Michel Therrien?
I
I
don't
hate him.
want him.
I hate him.
But
The stuff he did, he put
Yeah.
Galchenyuk on the wing, and
now,
Galchenyuk was terrible on the wing, and then he put him back to the wing this
I know.
season.
That's some Cap. He reminds me a lot of Capuano, and not just because of his hair, but because he
And not only that,
he is
there was a
scarily
rumor.
Capuano.
There was a rumor this summer that he
well,
straight up called out Max.
that
Pacioretty,
was
said he
100%
one of the
true.
worst
First off,
captains in
he
Montreal
called out
this year.
Oh, I
Pacioretty.
remember that. That was funny.
And then he called the front office out after they signed Alexander Radulov. And they called out the front office after the Weber trade.
The Weber trade.
And they called out the
Weber
front
trade.
office.
He was mad
And
about that.
everyone was calling out the front office.
Okay, I think everyone was calling out the front office after that trade.
But
Good for them.
PK's,
Good for Montreal.
but
What a
PK's
good
been
trade.
hurt
Good
this
trade.
year,
That
so
may
it's
hurt them
been
in
good so
5 years,
far.
but whatever. I mean,
That may hurt them next year.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying
but
I'm not
at
saying
least
I
I
want
don't like
Therrien.
him.
It's
I
just
don't
like an
like
idea.
him.
It's like
I
bringing
like
up
him.
Gerard
Really
Gallant.
bad.
I mean, there's another guy who got
I like
replaced by Jared
do like
Bednar because he quit out in Colorado. I'm not saying Patrick Waugh's a good coach or anything, but Still, if he wants to
to
coach,
go.
he could coach, but I don't think it's going to be for
He
the
may
Islanders. It'd be
be
more
something.
likely for the Vegas Golden Knights, which is going to be Capuano's future job. So I hope he gets that job.
I hope Capuano. I hope Capuano goes to Vegas. I hope it's Islanders Vegas Stanley Cup. I hope the Islanders lose. I'm an Islanders fan, but I hope that happens. That'd be so funny. And Hickey's the captain of the team. How about that too? That'd be funny. But
Hickey was the captain of
Yeah.
Canada's World Junior team with like
With
Tavares
Crosby.
and Eberle. Yeah.
I think
was
that was crazy. Like he's a leader. There's a rumor going around that if Hickey gets claimed,
Then there's
and
also
and
the
Capuano's
idea
the
because like
coach,
a
you
guy
just
like
say
Thomas
Hickey be
Plekanec may be
captain,
claimed
so
by
that's
Montreal.
interesting.
He could be the captain.
Yeah. Yeah, but just the fact that Hickey's up there really shows that someone asked.
Who
with a
should they?
question
Who do you
to
think
the
you're going to
fans,
lose in the expansion
Hickey or
draft? Take your
DeHaan. I'm not
DeHaan.
really sure what that means, but they. I'd say DeHaan, just because.
Hickey hasn't been that great.
Hickey's been bad this year, but and DeHaan's been played really well. But the reason why I brought that up is just because Hickey is he's a good guy. Everyone loves him, and I think he's a hard guy to lose. So I hope we don't lose him. I hope we lose. I hope they pick Quine or something. I hope they pick or Prince. I hope they pick someone from us, but they're not, because as the good old George McPhee, their general manager, knows the Islanders like the back of his hand. So unfortunately, we're going to be, we're not going to be sneaking anything under him, unfortunately. But
He also knows how to draft goalies. Was
No,
he not the
he
general
was.
manager who drafted Holtby, Varlamov, and Neuvirth with the Caps?
yeah, I'm surprised. Like, not that I didn't care as much, but I just didn't really realize, like, when he was the Islanders' associate GM or whatever he was, he's a big name. I don't know how the Islanders got him to be under Snow. That's crazy. But,
Yeah, they should have fired
Yeah.
Snow, actually,
I
or
know.
demoted him.
Got
yeah,
it.
That would have been.
I got
this
it.
guy
In
seems like-
2009,
like
on the
quite the,
World
smart
Junior
guy.
Championship
I don't
roster
know.
for Team Canada, head coached by Pat Quinn, there were players such as PK Subban, Alex Pietrangelo, Tyler Myers, Jamie Benn, Jordan Eberle, Tyler Ennis, John Tavares, Evander Kane, and Ryan Ellis. And the captain of that team, Thomas Hickey. Yeah,
Over
yeah,
Tavares.
Ben's a
Half those
captain,
players
Petrangelo's a
aren't captains yet,
captain.
I know I love that stat.
Tavares
I
is
love
a
that
captain.
stat.
That's 3 of them. PK Subban should be
Tavares
the
is the
captain and
captain.
will be the captain once Mike Fisher retires, probably.
Subban should be a captain.
I'm not gonna make the debate about Eberle and
Yeah.
McDavid. McDavid should be that captain.
Wow.
Edmonton's captain all the way.
So with that, I think we're going to move on to our last topic. It's another question from the fans. Sorry to end it abruptly, that talk. It was a good debate, but, we're getting into a lot of time here. So this question's from Nick Martirano, and it's directed for Scott. I think I'm going to disagree with you on this. I know before you answer, but do you believe Hartford is a legit possibility for the Islanders?
No.
I disagree, but you can continue. Say why you're so against it.
They have 3 choices, really. And it goes in the order of get the hell back into Nassau Coliseum is 1. And that's if we could buy it from Provorov.
This is in order of best to worst.
This is in order of, my opinion, best case scenario to worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
2, Belmont or anything else on Long Island. I'd prefer Belmont or Flushing, in my opinion. 3, Hartford. 4
Don't
is
even say Kansas City. I swear to God.
anywhere else. Quebec, Kansas City, you name it, we could go there because it seems like they don't want us.
Yeah. So the reason why I disagree with you is because option one is very unlikely. The politicians there are jerks. The owners of Nassau is a jerk, and they want it to be more of a concert hall than of a hockey arena with a passionate fan base. So the reason why I think two is also unreasonable. The Islanders, if we first of all, if we lose Tavares, two's off the table because no one wants a team that's going to suck for 20 years. That's a whole nother
Yeah.
topic that will go on for 30 minutes. But that's a big thing to keep in mind. If the Islanders lose Tavares, which could happen, we got to sign him this offseason. The no mayors may want this team because again, when the Islanders have been bad, they haven't been able to make a profit. And then three, Hartford, and the reason why I like Hartford is because it's only a 3-hour drive and their governor is literally drooling over us, which has not happened since the Cup years, where they have been actually really wanted. So I think going to Hartford, getting a state-of-the-art arena, isn't the worst thing in the world. I really don't. They're going to have a passionate Hartford fan base. Some Islanders fans could drive up. You got some Islanders fans in college up there, like some people I know. I'm not going to give any names. But I just think that that's a really interesting possibility, and I think it would be a nice change to be wanted. I don't know about you
Yes,
guys,
I
but
would love to be wanted, but not if it were 4.5 hours away from me.
hey, 3.5 hours away from me. Barclays is 2 hours, so
Barclays
it's
is an
nice.
hour.
Well, I don't.
Barclays is an hour train ride. Oh, by the way, talking about this weekend, if I don't remember if David mentioned about the live stream that you're gonna do at tomorrow night's game.
We're gonna get a live stream on Sunday too. We're doing a home and home live stream for you guys.
Possibly.
Yeah, I forgot. We just found out about that, but one of our writers may be going, so that'd be cool too. But back to the Hartford debate. Just wanted to get that out there. Um, I think the biggest. What if they rename it the Hartford Whalers? Rename the Islanders the Whalers?
No,
That
that's
would
my
be
biggest
sad.
fear.
Yeah, that would be. I don't think they do that though. They wouldn't because their governor wants us, and he seems
You
like
know
he's
what?
a nice guy.
You know what they name us?
The Hartford Islanders.
No, they name us the Connecticut Landers. Because we're not on an island.
Funny.
They're not on an island, so we just take the IS out of our team nickname. So we'd be the Hartford Landers, right? Right?
I like
it only
that.
makes sense.
And that's the second worst joke of the podcast. Congratulations. But I don't know. That's just a whole nother debate. Fans, like, this is a big. I'm just gonna end this right here, and I think you guys are gonna agree with me after this. Fans are all like, oh, we're going back to Nassau. Oh, we're going to Belmont. The Islanders aren't a wanted. They aren't a wanted commodity. No one wants the Islanders. It's all Rangers in New York, and the Islanders. If we don't have a home in a year and a half, think about that. A year and a half ago, I could name exactly what I was doing on this date. That's how soon ago a year and a half is. A year and a half is not a lot of time, and in a year and a half, if we don't have a home by then, we are going to be really desperate for a home, and we could easily go to Hartford. We could easily go to, I don't want to say Kansas City. We could. These owners, these fans think that everything our owners say is a fact. Oh, we don't want to leave New York. But they might not want to leave New York. They might have even said they're not going to, but they will. If they're going to make money, they will leave in an instinct. So you need to think that if we don't do something fast, and I'd like this new stadium to be announced within the year, because if we're struggling, if next season comes and the season ends and we don't have a home, we could be out of New York forever, and that's a sad thought, but it could happen, and it's a very good chance. So just don't take things for granted.
I'm just waiting for.
And Hartford could.
I'm just waiting for a new arena to be built across the street from Citi Field. That's named Modell's Arena. Because it seems like they sponsor us way too freaking much. Or Honda Center, Party City Center.
Yeah, Ford, not Focus, sponsored. Ford sponsors us a lot. That was a hard word to get out. But yeah, I can see that. But honestly, you know how long it takes to build an arena? A long time. And have they even cleared the lot yet? I think
Yes.
maybe. I don't know
Because
though.
what the problem
They
is
have.
they leased that entire space out. So they'd
Buy
need
it.
to buy part of the land across the street. Because you know how it's
Hmm.
Chris, you probably know since you were probably out at Nassau Coliseum a lot more than David was.
Never been to
Yeah.
Nassau Coliseum.
It's Nassau, the lot, the Marriott, then another lot. They
Yeah.
were thinking about building it on the other lot next to the Marriott.
Oh, that'd be so sweet. That would be such a diss to Nassau though. The Coliseum.
That
That
was
would be funny.
apparently a rumor. They were planning on taking the lot opposite the Marriott Hotel, which is where the away teams stayed when they played the Islanders, because it was literally right there, and they could still stay
Mhm.
right there.
Oh,
We used to.
add on that point.
It's
Sorry
fine.
about that,
Yeah,
but
I'll go next.
I remember reading an article or something about that where the Capitals stayed in the Marriott, and it was I think the Islanders had like a 1 o'clock game, it might have been game 3, and they like the Capitals could hear
Where
them
we
like
peed on the special
already.
needs fan. Where the
wait,
Islanders
wait, wait,
fans.
wait, wait.
You never heard that? Literally,
No, I
Islanders
actually
fans
did
peed
not.
on a special needs kid. That happened. It's a fact. It no joke
New York
happened.
fans are so Like New York
I know.
fans are like
They're
any other
so bad.
fans.
Did you guys did you guys hear Chimera ripping into the rain? I've
Oh,
never heard
oh
a guy
my
rip into
God!
fans more. He was like,
And he's been in
"What was
and
up
Oh
how
with
long has he
yeah.
been in Islanders? 6 months.
Well, he had things with them in Washington. Remember when he was
Yeah.
on the Capitals? Remember he took a stab at them, and then they lost the series, and the Rangers fans were chanting the whole time, "Can you hear us?" Remember that? Because Chimera said, "I can't hear the Rangers fans." So he's always had a thing with Rangers fans, even when he was on the Capitals. But for him to say he literally said they're bad people.
They
Like, that
are.
was crazy. I've
They're
never heard
they're
that.
Yeah,
only
he straight
there are
up said
only
that they were
there are
terrible
only a couple of
people.
guys on the Rangers that I ever remember hearing about doing charitable things.
That's true. We're doing charity every day. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. The Rangers
But
don't
I
do a
mean,
lot, but
obviously,
they do the
it
Garden of Dreams thing. But the Garden of Dreams is they're forced to almost. I
by
don't know.
Yeah.
We
by
could
the
talk. That's a write that
wonderful
down. That's a
by the
good time to talk about
wonderful company that sponsors
James
everything.
Dolan. I know.
Why do I feel like James Dolan's more invested into the Knicks than he is with the Rangers?
He is.
I feel
I
like
don't know.
he
He
meddles
is.
with the Knicks way more, and it kind of makes me mad.
Imagine if, which is very good because imagine if he ran the Rangers and ran them into the
Oh, that
ground.
would be so nice.
Imagine that. That would be so nice.
And David, to add on to your point earlier, actually, I can build a stadium in Madden 17 in about a half a year to a year. So your point is false.
But
Damn it. Well.
But before we move on to our final little topic and then our little sign off, I just want to mention one thing, and that's the fact that the only Ranger I've ever seen do something charitable is Henrik Lundqvist, and that's pretty simple. He's a great guy, but I just love messing with him when the Rangers come to town.
He sucks against
yeah,
us.
because all you hear is Henrik.
Yeah, I
Yep.
know.
Oh, they did that to
Whole-
Holtby in the Washington series.
I hear it.
loved
I
loved that
hear
atmosphere.
hold me. I've heard it with Fleury before. I've heard it with a lot of goalies.
Oh yeah, guys, big for the listeners still on and sticking with us. I'm sure a lot of you guys are kids. Think about this: Easter is late this year. If the Islanders make the playoffs, that first round is on our spring break for most, normal schools. So just that's pretty cool. So I have that circled in the calendar. If we make the playoffs,
East.
I'm coming out from Jersey to go to some games just because that would be a really on my spring break. That would be
Easter,
really cool.
what's
So,
that? All I know
I'm
of that
happy
week is
about that.
Passover.
Oh, and Passover too. I forgot about Passover.
Oh, I know. If you go to that game, though, just be prepared for like a 5 overtime game if history tells us anything.
I know.
History,
love that.
history will repeat. It's repeat. It's repeat. But
Yeah.
let's just quickly move on to our final topic. Let's not make this long-winded since we are getting toward the hour mark. Um,
Oh, that's a big
expansion
milestone.
draft. We'll each give our predictions if we go 8 skaters and a goalie and 7 forwards, 3 defensemen and a goalie. I'll start.
And we'll just instead of giving all our whole list, we'll just give it's obvious. You go Tavares, you go Ladd, you go Lee, then there's one more forward, or you go Hamonic, Letty, Boychuk,
And
one more
then
D.
Grice.
So let's assume we're going, and then Grice. So just name
And
those
then
two
your
extra
7-3,
skaters
and then your
if you
7 and
decide
3
to go.
choice. Okay, so
Yeah, so you can go first,
Tavares,
Scott.
Ladd, Lee.
Okay, just repeat what I just said. Thanks.
It's really a debate between two guys for
And-
me, but I think I'm gonna have to go Josh Bailey. And for
Okay, I agree with
defense,
you.
I'm gonna have to go. It depends on what happens at the end of the year. If the Isles don't trade Pelech, it's Pelech. If the Isles trade Pelech, it's Stahan.
I think he just summed that up perfectly. That's what I'm going with. I don't think the Islanders have that fifth forward to protect unless you go Nelson. You could maybe go Nelson, but I don't feel like he'll be claimed with the amount of forwards that could be potentially available in the expansion draft. So I don't know. I agree with Scott. I agree with Scott exactly. Dahan's been really well this year. Played really well. Chris, what do you think?
I'll probably go. I'd probably go
No.
7 and 3.
No,
Everyone else-
what we're doing first is we'd agree on our 8 and 1, and then we'll go back into our 7 and 3 predictions.
Oh, okay, that's my fault. I would probably go Tavares, Ladd, obviously. Lee.
Okay, we get it. You have a
Nelson.
man crush on Nelson. Let's move past that.
And Strome, but I have to neglect Strome here. And then I'd go with the 3 defensemen. I'd probably go Boychuk, Letty.
Boychuk, Letty, Hamonic. Just get it out.
Hamonic.
And then one more.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. Is it at 8?
Oh, wait,
That's
are you
the
counting
forward.
Strome as being protected? Okay, then 5
Yeah.
forwards,
Oh, I
3
didn't say
defensemen. I guess you're going with your 8 skaters. Okay, so obviously...
Which you would never do because you could get 7
Exactly,
forwards and
and
3
now let's
defensemen
go
if you
back and
wanted.
look at that.
So Chris, add your 2 extra players. Chris, would it be Bailey and Kuhlman, Bailey and Cizikas? I'm feeling like you'd add
Bailey and Cizikas. I think
Yeah.
you have to Cizikas after you saw
I completely agree with what you said, except I'm considering
trading Strome.
would Hosang or
No.
Del Cole be eligible? No.
No.
No, they are not.
Okay.
And I wouldn't protect either of them.
And the Panthers are
Okay,
winning. Yay. We need them to lose in regulation tonight so our magic number goes up 2.
So our match number goes up
51.
That's a lot. But and the expansion draft, I don't know. I feel like that's just a little preview. Next episode, we're really going to dive into the expansion draft, but that's just a preview. We're missing Jared. He's our co-host too. We're missing him. He has some interesting opinions on the expansion draft, including not protecting Hamonic, which is very laughable. But we're going to dive into that. Maybe spend 20 minutes on that next time. So we wanted to give you a preview. And with that, I think we're going to do our little closing thing. So I just want to go over some site things we have, and then Scott will go over some site things, and then we'll end it. We have the articles I talked about. We're going to get the weekly poll back soon. And we also have the All Islanders store, which has been launched for a while now. We have shirts and sweatshirts and everything with really cool designs that have been pretty popular. And then we also have the memorabilia store with I'm gonna say hundreds of pucks and pictures, just because we have the biggest Islanders collection on the internet. So we really think you should check that out. And we have a Capuano and Wait combo puck sale going on, 2 for $45. So it's a pretty good deal, if you ask me. So I think you guys should take advantage of that. And I think we're gonna go to Scott for our closing remarks on our
Okay,
longest
guys.
podcast yet.
I'm gonna repeat a little bit of what David said. Obviously, new stuff coming out on the website. Trade trees being worked on. A bunch of new prospect stuff. More editorials. We're gonna get a lot more of those up. It's fun to listen to our opinions. And just another one little thing. I don't want to reveal the guy who's gonna be on the podcast next week, right? So
We don't.
he works for the Islanders in some way, shape, or form. Could be a player, could be a coach, could be a former player, could be a writer.
Yes, could be an announcer. So that's
and
really
also one more thing.
And I just
sorry to cut you off there, David. For anyone who's going to watch the Devils Islanders games this weekend, let's mutually congratulate Brendan Burke. Let's mutually congratulate Brendan Burke and his wife on the birth of their second child this weekend. And
yes, it's a gift
and
from
we
God.
get to hear jigs this weekend. Okay, guys. Back over to David to end stuff off.
So one more thing. This is going to be our last announcement. We have the All Islanders art contest. We have a lot of edits. We have from Hot Hockey.
Yeah.
Hot Hockey did a really nice one. We have Diamond NHL, who did a really nice one. We have Platinum. I forget his name. He did a very good one. And then we have Air Edits, or AX something. He did a very nice photo. So we have a lot of good ones. This is a good way to get some publicity for your stuff. And we really think that a good prize we have right now is an offer to be a contributor for the site, which includes a lot of added perks. So with that, I think that's our last announcement we have. This has been a really successful podcast. We really got into it. So we're going to be releasing this hopefully after the Islanders win against the Devils on Saturday. So hopefully you enjoyed the live streams that we did, and hopefully you stay tuned for tomorrow's live streams. And with that, we're just going to thank you for watching this whole podcast. It's been a long one, and hopefully you stay tuned for the next one with a special guest. So thanks, guys.